So just when you thought this Tyler Perry lawsuit couldn't get any crazier, now we get to hear a response from Tyler Perry to Derek Dixon about what he thinks about this entire $260 million lawsuit. Yes, you heard that right. So in case you didn't know what's going on with this lawsuit between Tyler Perry and Derek Dixon filed a lawsuit against Tyler Perry for $260 million. Now, Tyler Perry obviously has to respond. Derek Dixon claims in the lawsuit that Tyler Perry made several unwanted advances toward Derek Dixon and put Derek Dixon in a difficult situation because Tyler Perry basically had, he says he feels, his entire career in his hands, and he had to do whatever he needed to do to please Tyler Perry. All right, so y'all can use your imagination. If you missed the video where we covered the initial lawsuit and read through a lot of it, I will leave a link to that video in the description for you guys. But now we're going to hear what Tyler Perry's response was. We're also going to hear from an attorney, Bradford Cohen, who specializes and has been involved with a lot of lawsuits of this nature, and see what he has to say about this response from Tyler Perry. So let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. Here we go.
It raises an issue that we see in these kinds of cases, because this is interesting, because Perry seems to say that Dixon's allegations don't line up with his actions. What do I mean by that? In a motion to dismiss the claims, this motion to dismiss that was filed by Tyler Perry and his companies, it says, quote, defendants deny Dixon's allegations. The complaint distorts reality and mischaracterizes a platonic friendship that, as it turns out, Dixon ultimately cultivated for personal financial gain. So, for example, quote, in January 2020, Dixon attended a party at Mr. Perry's Georgia residence and spent the night in a guest bedroom. Dixon claims Mr. Perry tried to get into bed with him. Despite this, Dixon voluntarily came to Mr. Perry's home in Georgia 2 months later. In August 2020, during the COVID pandemic, cast members quarantined and temporarily resided at the Tyler Perry Studios campus in Georgia so they could film. Dixon claims that Mr. Perry dropped off alcohol at his house and coerced him to imbibe during phone conversations with Mr. Perry. Dixon claims that later he went to Mr. Perry's trailer for drinks and that Mr. Perry made sexual advances and tried to grope plaintiff's buttocks. About a month later, Dixon voluntarily accompanied Mr. Perry and other cast members on a trip to the Bahamas, where he claims Mr. Perry made sexual advances towards him and allegedly tried to grope him. Now, Brad.
Now, looking at this at face value, the tough thing that's going to happen here with Tyler Perry is you're hearing from Derek Dixon that, yes, maybe I went back and maybe I kept going, but I felt like I didn't have a choice, right? We hear about a lot about this in the Diddy case with Cassie, with Jane Doe, and they said they felt like a lot of the instances and situations they were involved in, they didn't really have a choice just because Diddy was Diddy, right? And that's somewhat what Derek Dixon's argument is here. He's saying, well, the reason I kept going back and the reason I did what Tyler Perry wanted was because he had my entire career in his hands. If I didn't do what he wanted, if I didn't make him happy, we've seen in the past, he's killed off characters on the show, not literally, but he's basically ended their involvement with Tyler Perry, and he had a lot of power when it came to how he would be able to move in the industry. So, although this may be true, Derek Dixon maybe cultivated a lot of this. It's going to be tough for Tyler Perry because he didn't really have a choice, or he feels that he doesn't have a choice. Let's see what Bradford has to say.
Bradford, it seems to be that they're saying two things can't be true at once. This is a common thing we've seen, right? You're claiming someone sexually assaulted you or harassed you, and yet you maintain company with them. You continue to, have contact with them. But that's not necessarily negating that an assault or harassment could have occurred.
Correct. So there's a couple things going on. Number one is this isn't really for a motion to dismiss. The lawyers put all this in to get it out in the press, right? So they don't have to make a statement. The press will pick up this motion to dismiss and say, wait a minute, look at all these things that he did, and this is how it should go, and this is what he did. He sexually came on to him January 1st, and then January 10th, he's out at dinner with him. So this is a common theme. It's not really a motion to dismiss in terms of like, oh yeah, this is going to work for a motion to dismiss. It's a common theme. It didn't work out for Harvey Weinstein. And in Harvey Weinstein's case, it was females and a male, and they were saying, hey, listen, she emailed me, a week after she said that I sexually harassed her or that I sexually assaulted her. She emailed me saying, hey, I heard there's a part coming up and I'd love to try out for that part. So it's not unusual. What's unusual here is how society is going to look at this, where it's two men as opposed to a woman and a man. Are they going to say that this man should have done something different than a woman in his position, which in the Harvey Weinstein case, the women in those positions didn't do anything different. They never said, Harvey, you're a pig. Harvey, I don't care what you're going to do to my career. I'm not going into your bedroom, or I'm not going to go see you at 3 o'clock in the morning to read a line for a movie. It's going to be interesting how the press kind of addresses this, because it's a guy and a guy as opposed to a girl and a guy, because we look at women differently, that they're susceptible to this type of thing in terms of the Harvey Weinstein case. So are we going to look at it the same way, where a guy should have done something different? That's what's going to be so interesting in this case.
Yep. And there's usually a double standard. You can usually see the double standard in a lot of these lawsuits. We saw it with Lil Rod, with Diddy. We've seen it in several other situations that happen. We even saw it with the Clayton Howard situation, where he's attempting to sue Cassie and Diddy, and sue Cassie specifically for her involvement in this. And people, they're going to look at it a different way. They say, it's a man. Come on, you should have gotten out there. You should have known better. You shouldn't have been intimidated by this other man. Whereas when it's a woman, maybe things are a little different. Just the double standards of life.
The power dynamic is similar, right? If you're talking about this actor versus this megastar, mega producer, content creator, studio executive, right? Tyler Perry, the power dynamic might be the same. And look, you're right. It's not a part of a motion to dismiss per se that a court's going to say, because you made this argument, we're going to throw it out. But it does give us a preview of what may be argued at a trial, particularly if Dixon takes the stand. But here's what's interesting. This is the response, and we're going to get a little bit more into the legal ramifications, the legal argument in the motion to dismiss. But just staying on this point about whether we can believe Derek Dixon's claims, his attorney, Jonathan J. Delshad, issued a statement to People magazine in response to Perry's claims. This was on Monday, October 13th, saying, quote, Perry's filing provides no evidence to corroborate that the text messages in our complaint are fabricated. Our complaint includes text messages where Mr. Perry made explicit sexual remarks to Mr. Dixon, questioned him about his sex life, and dangled professional opportunities based on those interactions. No employer has the right to manipulate or threaten an employee's livelihood based on sexual expectations. We are certain that we will be able to prove to a jury that sexual harassment, assault, and battery absolutely happened. I am convinced that Mr. Dixon is not the only one, and that soon others will be sharing stories about Mr. Perry. My client is not intimidated by wealth, influence, or the celebrity status of Mr. Perry. Nobody is above the law. We are committed to holding Mr. Perry accountable to the full extent of the law.
And now, when we've seen this happen, the thing that I think Tyler Perry is going to have to worry about is one of the statements that was made by this attorney for Derek Dixon. It's other people are going to come out. There are going to be other people who possibly file lawsuits against Tyler Perry. And we saw as soon as, even before, but as soon as Cassie filed her lawsuit against Diddy, Diddy was facing a numerous amount of lawsuits. And it may end up being the same thing for Tyler Perry. I want to know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. I'll leave a link to this full video from Law and Crime in the description. Do you think this is going to be a difficult one for Tyler Perry? Do you think Derek Dixon has a case? Let me know what y'all think.